Hello everyone. Today we have understood all the concept from the lecture 1 to lecture 4 of the presence of a ISI, that is which causing in the channel there. So now we need to equalize all those and we have to make a pass through all these signals properly, so that it doesn't cause any kind of error or does not echo any kind of ISI. You have to neutralize the ISI. We cannot make it a proper zero, so we need some of the channel equalizers. So what does this mean? The channel equalization. Okay. Till now in the preceding sections we described the design of transmitting and receiving filters for digital PAM transmission when the frequency response characteristics of the channel are known. Okay. So we design the transmitting and the receiving filter for digital PAM transmission when the frequency characteristic of the channel were known. They design these filters for zero ISI at the sampling instant. This design methodology is appropriate when the channel is precisely known and its characteristics do not change with the time. So usually these designs were designed for the zero ISI only at a certain sampling instant, and this methodology is appropriate when the channel is precisely known and its characteristics were not changing. Okay, we should know what is the design method to generate any kind of the signal and how it has to be transmitted to a certain channel. Unless and until we cannot design, the characteristics should be stagnant. It doesn't should be like changing every time. So we say it's a fix. But in practice, the frequency characteristic of a channel are unknown or vary with the time. Okay, but in practice, the frequency characteristic of the channel are unknown, vary with the time. So we cannot say that it can be a constant one. Yeah? So equation of the time varying signal channels are radio channels. So these are like the time varying factors are called as a radio channel. These channels are characterized by time varying frequency response characteristic. So here this is what the general thing. Usually the frequency characteristics are known and also vary with time. So if we analyze within the time domain, we can like it's like a radio channel. It is like varying, continuously varying the frequency response, like how we do it in the receivers there. Under these circumstances, we may design the transmitting filter to have a square root phase cosine frequency response. You can say the square root raise cosine frequency response that we saw in the request criteria. Third criteria. Okay. So what is that? In GT of f is equals to x square root of xrc of f e minus j 2 pi f t naught for mod f less than or equal to w is equals to 0 for mod f greater than w. Mod f greater than w. And the receiving filter with the frequency response gr of f to be matched to the gr of f. Okay, so frequency is to be matched to the frequency of the GT of f. Therefore, the GT of f into GR of f is equals to XRC of f. And due to the channel distortion, the output of the receiving filter is y of t is equal to the square summation of n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity n into x of t minus nt plus w of t, where x of t is equals to gt of t convoluted with c of t convoluted with gr of t. The filter output may be sampled periodically to produce the sequence. The filter output may be sampled periodically to produce the sequence. Y of m is equal to summation of n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity a of n into x of m minus n plus w of m. So we can what we can do, we can further simplify more. That is equals to x naught of m, x naught of m, x naught into am plus summation of n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity, where n is not equal to m, a n into x of m minus n plus w of m, where x of n is equals to xn is equals to x of nt. This is the value. X9 is equals to x of nt, where n is equals to 0, plus or minus 1, or plus or minus 2, so on. The middle term on the right hand side of the above equation represents the ISI. In order to detect the information sequence AM, the maximum likelihood sequence detector ML is the optimum detector here. But with this detector, the computational complexity is very high and becomes impractical to design. So there are some optimal method for which ML detector serves as a benchmark for comparison of its performance. So we need to cannot say the maximum likelihood sequence detectors to be designed as the optimum detector, but with this detector the computational complexity is like very high and becomes impractical. They are like a because they are like a calculation complication will be very more and very high and becomes impractical to design. Hence, there are suboptimal methods for which an ML detector serves as a benchmark for the comparison of its performance. So among them, there are two types. Among them, the first one is the linear equalizers, another is the MSME. So we'll look up the MSME later. For channels whose frequency response characteristics are unknown and the time variant, linear equalizers can be employed at the output of the receiving filter. The block diagram of the equalizers, you can observe it here. So what we are doing, the same thing, the input, the transmitting filter GT of f, then the channel C of f, then noise is getting added N of t, then again it is passed on to the receiving filter GR of f, but additional to it, here we have a equalizers. Then we get to the detector. So what we are doing here, the design characteristics of linear equalizers are from frequency domain initially usually, and this demodulator consists of the receiving filter with the frequency response GR of f followed by a channel equalizing filter that has the frequency response G of f. So that is the trying to modify in terms of a G of f and trying to match with the equalizers. Since GR of f and GT of f are matched and satisfies the equation GT of f into GR of f, the mod of GT of f into mod of GR of f is equals to XRC f, XRC of EF. Now, G of f must be compensated for the channel distortion, and the equalizer frequency response must equal the inverse of the channel response. That is, G of f is equals to 1 by C of is equals to 1 by C of. That is the mod we have taken e raised to minus j Tc of f. And then that is mod f which is less than or equal to W, where the modulus of G of f is equals to 1 by mod of C of f, and Te of f is equals to minus Tc of f. So this is how we say this is the modulus factor, where we can say this is the magnitude and this is the phase here, and from here we can confirm that the equalizer is equal to inverse of the channel impulse pulse. So you can see here, we can see the 1 by C here, and here T of theta E of f is equals to minus theta C of f. So it is telling that it is inverse to it. So in this case, the equalizer is said to be the inverse channel filter to the channel response. The inverse channel filter completely eliminates ISI to 0. Here, the equalizer is said to be the inverse channel filter to the channel response. Then the inverse channel filter completely eliminates ISI to 0 at the sampling times t is equals to nt. and hence the equalizer is said to be a zero forcing equalizer. So that is that it's trying to completely eliminate ISI to 0 at the sampling times t is equals to nt, and hence the equalizer is said to be a zero forcing equalizers. Hence the input to the detector is of the form of ym is equals to am plus wm, where wm is the noise component, which is zero mean Gaussian with the variance, and sigma square of sigma w the square is equals to n naught by 2 minus w the integrated over minus w2 plus w, where it's a mod of xrc of f divided by x mod of c of f the whole square tf. In general, the noise variance at the output of the zero forcing equalizer is higher than the noise variance at the output of the optimum receiving filter GR of f. This is in terms of a mod. So now we need to design those things which has to be implemented in the time domain. So we can see here this is like a same kind of a FIR filter, which is having an adjustment of algorithm for tap gain adjustment. Okay, and this is the equalized output. In the real channel, the ISR is limited to a finite number of samples, say L samples. Thereby, a channel equalizer is approximated by a finite duration impulse response FIR filter or transverse filter with adjustable tap coefficient C of n, as we see here. So this is a tap adjust algorithm for tap gain adjustment. So equalize output has been designed here. So now what will happen is that some of the adjustment has to be done here, and with the sample size here not here c plus 1, c plus 2, here c minus 1, c pi or c minus 2. So what we are doing, any adjustment is there in the tau has been determined and with the equalizer output. Okay, so it has been determined and been given as the equalizer output. So if anything, the fluctuations will be there, the finite sample has been reduced and it's been given to the equalized output. The time delay tau between the adjustment taps may be selected as large as t, the symbol interval, in which case the FIR equalizer is called a symbol space equalizer. But in this case, the frequency in the received signal above 1 by t are aliased, and hence the equalizer compensates for the aliased channel distorted signal. When the channel delay tau between the adjacent tap is selected such that 1 by tau is greater than or equal to 2w greater than or equal to 1 by tau, no aliasing occurs and the inverse channel equalizer compensates for the true channel distortion. For tau less than t, the channel equalizer is said to have a fractionally spaced tap, and it is called as a fractional space equalizer here. The impulse response of the FIR equalizer is G of t is equal to the summation of n is equal to minus n to plus n into C of n, where C of n of a delta t minus n tau. And the corresponding frequency response is G of f is equal to the summation of n is equal to minus n to plus C of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi f n tau, where C of n are the 2n plus 1 equalizer coefficient and n is chosen sufficiently large, that is 2n plus 1 greater than or equal to L. Since x of f is equal to gt of f to C of f, and gr of f and the x of t is the signal pulse corresponding to the x of f, the equalized output signal pulse is q of t is equal to the summation of n is equal to minus n to plus n c of n cn into x of t minus n tau. At t is equals to mt, that is q at q of mt is equal to summation of n is equals to minus n to capital N cn x of mt minus n tau, where m is equals to 0 plus or minus 1 so on up to plus or minus n. Since 2n plus 1 coefficient are there, equation 4 can be written as that with the above equation. Q of mt is equal to summation of n is equal to minus n to n Cn of x mt minus n tau, that is equals to 1, m is equals to 0, 0, m is equals to plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, up to so on up to plus or minus n, which may be expressed in the matrix form as xc is equals to q, where x is a 2n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 matrix with elements x of mt minus nt. C is the 2n plus 1 coefficient vector and q is the 2n plus 1 column vector with a one non-zero element. FIR, zero forcing equalizer, does not completely eliminate ISI because it has the finite length. But as n is increased, the residual ISI can be reduced, and as n tends to infinity, the ISI is completely eliminated. Now another type, the minimum mean square MMSE. The drawback of a zero forcing equalizer is that completely ignores the presence of additive noise, and as a result it leads to the significant noise enhancement. Therefore, an alternative approach that the zero ISI condition and to select the channel equalizer characteristics such that the combined power in the residual ISI and the additive noise at the output of the equalizer is minimized, which is obtained using minimum mean square MMSE method. Let us consider the noise corrupted output of the FIR equalizer B z of t is equal to summation of n is equals to minus n to n Cn into y of t minus n tau. That's the equation. At t is equals to mt, z of mt is equal to summation of n is equals to minus n to n C of n into y of mt minus n tau. That is equation 2. The desired response sample at the output of the equalizer at t is equals to mt is the transmitted symbol am. The mean square error between the actual output symbol z of mt and the desired values am is MSE is equals to e of z of mt minus am the whole square. Then e is equals to the summation of n is equals to minus n the n plus n, that's into, which is c of cn into y of mt minus n tau minus am the whole square. That is equals to the summation of n is equals to minus n to plus n. And summation of k is equals to minus n to n. Cn into ck into ry into n minus k. Minus 2 to summation of k is equals to minus n capital ck into ray k plus e a square m, where ry n minus k is equals to e of y of emt minus n tau into y of mt minus k tau. So this is the expectation, what we are using the e as the expectation, and when we have derived it, it is in the term of a square minus 2ab plus b square. So a square minus 2ab plus b square. So again, where ry n minus k what are represented here, it is in the form of this one. Then and ray of k is equals to e of y mt minus k tau am. That is equation 5. Thus the necessary condition for MMSE is the summation of n is equals to minus n to n, that is Cn into ry of n minus k is equals to ray y k. So if we eliminate all those things, so that time what we are getting is only the equation what we required. So it is nullified all the other things and we are getting only the output what is required there. So that k is equals to 0 plus or minus 1 to up to plus or minus n. Hence there are 2n plus 1 linear equation for the equalizer coefficient. So hence everything has been given. So that is the main condition what it has to be followed here. So we get this terms, we know what are the terms there. So after this thing, so we have to analyze which one is the better one, whether it's the linear filter or MMSE. So depending, some drawbacks in the linear filter has been overcome in the MMSE here. So hence the term which has to be utilized. So which has the factor, and also some of the calculation what we do here, we are taking the expectation values, so that is the E, and we are implementing those things.